Meanwhile, the presidency has reacted to the heightened debate on immigration in the country. This follows several protests calling for the tightening of the country's laws amid criticism by some African countries about the alleged ill treatment of their citizens in South Africa.
Discussed yesterday between President Chapo and President Ramaphosa, and they both agreed that, number one, South Africa is not xenophobic. South Africans are not xenophobic. What you have are pockets of protest, which is permissible within our constitutional framework. You also have the reality that the issue of immigration is a pressure point, not only here in South Africa, but throughout the world, where protests are held on these issues. What is important from our perspective is obviously respecting the rights of everybody that is within our borders, and to, when we protest, to do so peacefully without causing harm to anybody. And in this regard, the President expects law enforcement to also play its role to prevent any acts of violence against any individual.
Well, as the tensions continue to rise over undocumented migrants in the country, the Umkhonto weSizwe Member of Parliament, Carol Magafane, has tabled a private member's bill for small businesses such as spaza shops and hair salons to be ring-fenced exclusively for South Africans. This comes as Tembisa residents today took to the streets calling for the closure of foreign-owned shops, the demonstrations coming amid growing tensions in township and communities over the ownership and regulation of spaza shops. Well, to tell us more about this private member's bill is the Member of Parliament from the benches of the MK party, Carol Magafane. Thank you very much. Indeed. All right. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me there. Thanks for your time. Let's understand exactly what you are proposing to Parliament and how do you think it will assist in the current climate?
Thank you very much, Goli, and good evening to the viewers. For the benefit of those who don't know what a private member bill is, it's a simple legislation proposed by a member of Parliament who is not in the government or a government minister. So this is not an executive bill. It's the primary objective of the bill from the individual members is to address public concerns and also introduce new law or amend existing legislation. So as MKP, we have listened to the cries of our people that the informal trading should be reserved for South Africans only. This is not something new, actually, I must admit. Most of African countries have this, they have reserved this specific informal trading sector for their citizens. Yeah. I will give you a typical example. Nigeria, believe it or not, is one of those countries. Ghana is one of those countries. Tanzania is one of those countries. Our neighbor right here, Zimbabwe, is one of those countries, and Botswana is one of those countries. So having these legislations for South African is not something new. The objective of our bill is to protect the most vulnerable from foreign nationals and unjust competition.
All right. So let me press you further then on exactly what you've just said, the examples you've made, that Nigeria itself has ring-fenced such businesses for their own citizens. What do you think went wrong here in South Africa? Because previously it was South Africans who were running spaza shops. Why the switch?
What went wrong is the gray area in the Constitution. In Section 22, the gray area says all South Africa is open for business for all its citizens. What it doesn't say that for natural citizens born in South Africa. So anyone can acquire citizenship. I don't even want to mention this, but our sisters marry foreign nationals, they get a citizenship. And some apply for citizenship, but they are not naturally born in South Africa. So that's where the gray area is. So we need to fix that constitution to say it's for South Africans by birth that must have these businesses, because I can walk into Zimbabwe right now and open a business. It's reserved for them. It's the protection of their business of their citizens, and it's also to boost their economy. So we need to protect our South Africans as well with this changing of the constitution first.
Carol, let's talk about this, because I think this is going to be quite interesting. Let's assume for a second that your legislation gets a thumbs up and it is promulgated. Enforcement in South Africa is generally weak. Do you think that with it being law, it would prevent foreign nationals from running such small businesses?
Indeed, enforcement is a problem in South Africa. And this bill covers extensively enforcement. I think even what we are witnessing with Madlanga Commission, ad hoc committee, where General Mkhwanazi has said that South Africa only has 2 scanners in our ports to scan goods coming in and goods coming out. So this bill, it seeks to address all those issues. So it cuts across all departments. Department of Home Affairs must do its work. There must also be a role player. The Department of Health must be a role player in this. COGTA must be a role player. So it cuts through all sectors. When I say Home Affairs must do its work, I will give you a typical example, Koli. For instance, a person can walk into the municipality and apply for a business license. Municipality is not equipped to ask that person, are you an asylum seeker? Because asylum seekers can't be business owners in South Africa.
Yeah.
Municipality doesn't have the capacity to say, is your business visa complying with the Constitution of South Africa, which is very clear. The Constitution, it says that if a foreign national applies for a business, it must be a minimum of 5 million rand and above.
Yes.
So the municipalities don't have capacity to ask those questions. Another one is student visa. When somebody walks in, applies for a business, they don't ask, what kind of a visa do you have? Do you have a student visa? Do you have a tourist visa? What visas do you have?
Okay.
So we need to tighten up all sectors.
All right. Let's stick with the theme of enforcement for a moment, and let's give you a practical example now of what you're likely to be faced with if you are a law enforcement official who is now coming in to check. This is now the bylaw enforcement. Today, you had a similar march taking place in Tembisa. And I watched with keen interest because, firstly, the number of people that participated, it was a fraction of what you are seeing in KZN. This was also today. Massive march in KZN. Well, they were here in Gauteng, I think in the last week, and it was a massive march. So in Tembisa, I suspect the dynamic is slightly different because of this, that some people have rented their homes to foreign nationals who are doing this business. So here you have a home that is owned by a South African, but a section of it is rented out to someone who happens to be a foreign national to say, you can run this business, all you have to do is give me a rental amount of X per month. How does the law deal with that kind of situation?
It will have to be municipality bylaws that deals with that. And at the moment, there is a great lack in municipality bylaws. I think you remember when this bill came out, immediately after that, the Minister of COGTA released the standard bylaws for businesses to municipalities to comply. And I must tell you now, the municipalities, 111 municipalities have not complied. 95 municipalities have not, are still busy with public participation. So the reason why South Africans are renting out their homes to foreign nationals, one, I'll give you two answers. The one is because foreign nationals, when they set up these shops, they come with unfair pricing. They set up a lot of shops within a small space to suffocate South Africans' business. So, number one, the bylaws must speak to that. Number two, our government does not support our small businesses sufficiently. A person running a business, so I'll give you an example of what happened in other countries, where the government takes small businesses, nurture that business up until it's self-sufficient. We don't have that in South Africa. We just, when we are lucky to receive funding, you just receive funding and we close the books and we go. There is no proper monitoring. There is no proper evaluation. There is no after funding support to see that, yes, Rebele Kero here, Kero, how is the business doing? What is it that, as a government, that we can do to assist you to grow this business into a bigger, from spaza shop to a general dealer, from a general dealer even to warehousing? South Africans don't have that luxury. And unfortunately, we are dealing with mafias who are not even supporting our local economies. First of all, they are getting their products from overseas, from where they come from. They ship them into South Africa undetected, and they ship the money out of South Africa undetected as well. So South Africans deserve a fair chance to participate in this township economy as well.
Carol Mafagane, let me thank you very much for your time. I hope I've pronounced your surname correctly this time around.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Tloli.
Thank you indeed. Very, very interesting conversation you and I have just had. A member of parliament belonging to the MK party.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Jones, Why Not TV. Please subscribe. Bye for now till we meet again next time. Subscribe.